Brother, how you doing?
Oh man, I'm doing great.
Good, good, good to see you. Good to see you.
Yes, yes, likewise.
Well, I want to tell you about what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get different people that I've worked with in the community and some of the things that we've talked about. And with you, you know how much respect I got for you and what you do. So what I want to do, I want to introduce you to my public. Just these little 10 minute shorts sometimes, they make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you to introduce yourself and just tell them, you know, who you are. Are you a father? Name of your kids, so on and so forth.
Okay, okay. Well, my name is LaRod Dixon. 31 years old. I do have two sons. Nazir Dixon. He's 6 years old. He turned 7 this February. His little brother Eli. He's turning 2 years old. Like acting like 12-year-old. And but I own a couple companies. I do videography. I own a company called Projected Thoughts Production. So we handle marketing, everything from videography, things of that nature. Home inspector certified, so I do home inspections. Um, but for the most part, just enjoying, growing, learning, and being a father as well.
And not necessarily in that order.
No, no,
Uh,
no.
so one of the things, this mic is on, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, so check this out. One of the things that impressed me about you, do you remember how we met?
Yeah, yeah. I remember. I remember that day.
Okay, could you explain that to our
So I was actually doing a commercial, shooting a commercial for my uncle. Shout out my uncle Waverly Willis. He owns Urban Cut Barbershop. So if you need a cut, I actually got my hair cut by Urban Cuts Barbershop, located on West 65th and Lorraine. So go check him out.
And what does your uncle do? You gotta get a
Yes.
whole
So
spiel.
he's a pillar in the community. He owns, like I said, the barbershop, Urban Cuts Barbershop, but he does so much more. Gives back to the community. He uses his place of business to do blood drives, give back to the community, whether backpacks for the kids or anything of that nature. He deals with government officials, just figuring out ways that we could empower just as citizens in the community. Other than that, but how we met, back to that story, I was shooting a video for him for a prostate cancer awareness. That's when you came in, and I kind of seen you on stage. He was a speaker. So were you that day, I believe so. And
But
after
we were
the
the only
event,
two speakers,
yeah, you
actually.
guys were the only two speakers. Yeah, and after the event, I stuck around for a little bit, and I ended up bumping into you. And you were telling me about this space that you have that you utilize for giving back to the youth, and that I should come down and check it out. And came down here and kind of been here every day since. You know,
Now, that was all a divine connection. You know me. I got to give God the praise. But
100%.
I don't want you to confuse this. A lot of times, uh, when you say something about God, you go right to religion. Okay, of course, I love the Lord, but this is not a religious situation. It's something that needed to happen. Laron has been, oh my goodness, it was something that I prayed for because I needed someone to help me do videos and get different things out. So actually, what you're seeing right now is also a result of what he's doing and what he's showing me and what he's taught me. A lot of times we are older and we don't think we can learn from some of our younger individuals or some of the younger men in our community. That's the job of a gatekeeper. Okay, and he was very receptive, and I noticed he just worked his butt off, and I wanted to make sure that I, let him know I appreciated him. So, and you don't have someone work for you without compensation. You
Hmm.
made sure, and he didn't even ask for compensation. I kept making him take it. I said, "No, you're gonna take this money." And he
Yeah,
said, "No, but
yeah.
you need this." I said, "No, but that ain't the point. It's when you work and you spend your time. That's honoring our Father. You do that because it's the right thing to do." But
Amen.
let's get back. I want to ask you something.
Yeah.
You have two sons. What are some of the things that you fear for your sons as they grow older? I want you to talk about that.
You know what? And I've been thinking about this. Besides, kind of like the elephant in the room, them being black males, young black males growing up in the world and the society that we live in, and just kind of making sure they know how to balance the things that they're going to experience. You know, the problems that they're going to face. Discrimination being one of them. Um, and people, having these hidden intentions or ideas of what they may think that they are, how intelligent they are just off the color of their skin. Another thing that I want them to learn is keeping that strong sense of self, confidence, the thirst of just learning. Education is power, knowledge is power, and being able to see when someone's taking their kindness for weakness, but not let that dictate how they treat people.
That's good.
So I want them to give everyone an honest chance, because we're all people of all different walks of life, and a lot of us are just trying to find our way. So I want them to understand what their value is and how to use that value to help people around them, and how to bring out the value or help other people acknowledge the value in themselves.
How important is a spiritual presence in your son's life?
Oh, 100%. Every morning we pray, every night, every before a meal, and he understands that. Like you said, we're not really religious, but we're spiritual. And we believe in Jesus every aspect, every point of the way. But they definitely understand having a personal relationship with Jesus and the Lord is the way to go.
So I want to ask you another question. You hear about all these different taglines like defund the police, how the police is against African Americans,
Hmm.
it's a hidden agenda when it comes to that blue wall. What's your opinion on those things? Let's start with defund the police. Would you like to live in a community where they defund the police?
You know what? I'm not too sure about the defund on the police. So I gotta be a little. I got a little bit, get a little bit more information on that. I do think that more budget has to go into training the police officers, and allowing them to come face to face with, maybe some simulations that will help them know better how to deal with disgruntled people, or
Maybe our culture a little bit,
maybe
understand.
our culture. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay.
But my son even asked one day about becoming a police officer. He was,
What did you tell him?
I told him, the idea of being there to protect people is a great thing, and maybe he could make a difference in the world.
I want to say this to you. I know a lot of police officers, and I think what we do is summarize one police officer with a lot of the incidents that have happened in our community. They are family men just like yourself.
Yeah.
They have kids and they're trying to make it home to them. I'm not giving them a pass. I'm just telling the truth. I think a small percentage of our police officers may be bad people, which then presents a bad experience. But
Hmm.
I know a lot of good people that are police officers. It doesn't change the fact that overall throughout African American history, they have been used to, you know, create a problem for us in our communities.
Yeah. Yeah.
But one of the things that I do know is this: if we're going to change, we have to also understand that no one in this world is perfect. Uh, one of the things, another thing that you see is when you tell me about your, have you vote, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Democrat, Republican. What do you think about the two parties?
Um,
Let's start with the Republicans. What's your opinion? When
you
you
know
hear
what? Just
Republicans, what do you think?
politics, and it's. I believe it's just two wings of the same bird. It's
Hmm.
kind of almost a clear example of you got to have two different sides. I mean, there's always going to be two ways of thinking of something.
Hmm.
So coming together and figuring out some way to agree, I guess, is our biggest challenge, and maybe will always be our biggest challenge. But as far as like Republican and Democrat, I kind of go with the message. Whichever politician has a clear message to me, and clear message on giving back to the community and empowering us as a people. Um, so it varies. It varies.
That's good. Because I think what we miss a lot of times, we are so party driven that we overlook the problems in the
Exactly.
party or the person because of the party.
Hmm.
I'm not going to name them names, but I think we're experiencing that right now because
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
past president.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is this: I know some Republicans that I like. I mean, one in particular, this brother, I just think he's a hell of a person. But if I was to openly support him, I would be looked at differently. I know some Democrats that's maybe not really true Democrats. I mean, it's a necessary association because of their hidden agenda and goals.
Mhm.
So that's a good way to think.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna tell you one of the things that impressed me about LeBron was, first of all, he put God first. Second, he is a father, and Lord knows we need fathers. We need gatekeepers like LeBron. So I'm not gonna hold you, but what you're gonna find is from time to time, I want to interview real people for real causes. So LeBron has agreed to help me in so many different areas and has helped me. He has been genuine. Um, One of the things that I want to bring, and we'll bring to this message is we need gatekeepers. We need young men like LeBron. And those of us that have traveled maybe 20 or 30 years before LeBron entered into this earth,
Yeah,
was
yeah.
born rather,
Yeah.
we need to allow them to have a voice. So thank you again, LeBron. Hey, listen, it was a short message, but
Thank
it's
you.
something that was needed.
Thank
And
you.
if you go to my website, you will see his son. He is the
On the commercial.
on the commercial
Yeah,
that we
yeah,
made, and you got to see this guy. I connected with him immediately,
yeah.
but I definitely wanted to do this. Hey, listen, from the hood to the community, we are gatekeepers. Thanks again.
Thank you. God
Thank you,
bless.
man. I appreciate you.
No problem. No problem.